Hey listeners, Mallory Wilsey here, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network. I get the privilege of working alongside all of the creators at Enrollify, and I want to take just a moment to tell you about why I Want to Work There, a podcast hosted by Eddie Francis. In an era where attracting and keeping talent is more crucial and complex than ever, I Want to Work There dives deep into how colleges and universities can stand out as top employers. Whether you're involved in HR, leadership, or just keen on the dynamics of higher ed employment, this podcast is your new go-to resource. Join Eddie Francis as he tackles the pressing issues of employee recruitment and retention and offers actionable insights for positioning your institution as an employer where everyone wants to work. You can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search I Want to Work There wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Breaking Silos, a podcast that shines a light on the incredible partnerships happening across campuses every day. I'm your host, Shane Baglini from Muhlenberg College. Join me every 2 weeks for discussions with some of the best minds in higher ed marketing, enrollment management, student affairs, campus leadership, and more. Breaking Silos is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to episode 2 of Breaking Silos. If you're back from episode 1, thanks for sticking with me. And if you're joining us for the first time, we've got a very special conversation today. Joining me from Forsyth Tech Community College is Dr. Janet Spriggs, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Devin Purgason, Executive Director of Marketing and Student Care. Dr. Spriggs, Devin, thanks so much for being with me.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Shane. We are thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you, and I'm thrilled to have this conversation about a special guest on your campus. Back in January, Dr. Jill Biden, First Lady of the United States, visited your campus, and I'm really excited because that's not something that everybody gets to take part in. It's a really exciting day for an institution. So I want to start with you, Dr. Spriggs, and kind of if you could share what went through your mind when you got the call that Dr. Biden was coming to campus.
Yeah, so absolutely. Well, the first thing that went through my mind was, wow. And then I was like, this is exciting, right? This is probably the most exciting thing to have happened for our campus since I've been a president here. It's always a thrill to have important guests come to your campus and to have the opportunity to show off a little bit and talk about the great work that's going on every day and to introduce students to special guests. But this was definitely the most special guest possible. I know so much about Dr. Biden's work as a community college professor herself at one of the largest community colleges in the country, at Nova in Virginia. And so it was just, my first thought was, wow, this is going to be so much fun. And it's going to be such an opportunity for us to highlight the amazing work that's going on at Forsyth Tech. And I was just thrilled to have the opportunity.
And this visit aligned directly with a STEM-related grant. So can you speak a little bit about that grant and how this visit and that project align with some of the goals at Forsyth Tech?
Sure, absolutely. It aligned directly with a new National Science Foundation Engines grant. We are one of 2 regions in the state of North Carolina that is going to have an Engines grant. This one is particularly focused on biotechnology, and the lead for the grant is Wake Forest University and their Institute for Regenerative Medicine. And so this is a grant that will help all the partners really work towards building a skilled and qualified biotechnology workforce right here in the Piedmont Triad region. And that's huge. Dr. Tony Atala and the work that he has done through WFIRM around regenerative medicine is amazing. There's a lot of other companies that are also doing things like, creating kidneys, 3D printing kidneys, and technology that sounds like the old $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman TV show from all those. I'm older, Shane, so I remember those TV shows when the bionic parts seemed like, a fantasy, and they're real now. So Forsyth Tech's role in that is going to be really the workforce development piece. Wake Forest, NCA&T, Winston-Salem State University will be doing a lot of work around research and development and as well as curriculum, but we're going to really be focused on workforce development for those biotech careers. That's a huge economic driver for this region and also a huge economic mobility opportunity for us and our students.
And, community colleges have a special place in my heart. I spent a lot of time in my career at community colleges. So hearing about the partnership on the larger perspective with surrounding institutions is really exciting. And so congratulations to you all on that. So Devin, from a marketing perspective, you and I talked a little bit about this in our pre-interview. You didn't get a lot of notice about this visit.
Yeah, I feel like these things, rarely does anyone ever get much notice about these things. So it's a funny story. I was actually coming home from a conference, and I was on a flight. It was a later flight, about 9 o'clock. And my wonderful boss, Paula, she texted me, and I was on the Wi-Fi so I could text. And she said, "Devin, I have something really important that I need to talk to you about. It's really exciting. Uh, can I talk to you?" And I said, "I'm about to land in like 45 minutes, but I'm on the Wi-Fi. Maybe you can like FaceTime audio call me. I don't know." So she called me. So I'm on the plane. It's dark. Everyone's around me, and I'm like, "Hey, Paula, hey, and she tells me, "Devin, the First Lady of the United States is coming to our campus. We need you at 7 o'clock to meet with Secret Service tomorrow morning." So it was that. I mean, it really was something that we did not have a lot of notice about this. Whenever it comes to the White House, they sort of do a site visit, and there's a lot of partners that were players in this grant. And so because of Dr. Biden's focus and attention and love of community colleges, they felt that the best place to announce this grant was at a community college. And so we felt very, very lucky that they chose us to come here. And so it's definitely one of those things where you don't have a lot of notice, but it doesn't matter. It's kind of like we're just gonna this is where the rubber meets the road. And so all hands on deck, and we're gonna work to make this just a really, really great experience. Not only for our campus and for our students, but we want this to be memorable for everyone that's involved. The entire team that came and did the pre-planning. I have so much respect for those people that we shared 3 straight days, working side by side together to make it happen. It's a huge undertaking, but very, very rewarding. So it was wonderful, but a lot of work.
I bet. The reason I wanted to have you both on to talk about this is because I feel like something like this is the epitome of needing to break silos.
Yes.
This is, everybody has to be involved in this. And so, Dr. Spriggs, I'll start with you here. I want to what was the process from your end of things once you got the news?
All I had to do was say yes and say, "I'm here for whatever you need. Please plug me in as you need it." But I did not participate in the lion's share of the planning. I had to do some things like change my travel schedule because I was scheduled to be out of town on that day. I was supposed to be in Durham for a President's Association meeting, so I had to finagle my schedule a bit to make sure I was available. But the other part of my participation was just supporting Devin and our chief of police and our director for events, the people that were actually going to be boots on the ground working to make all of this come together. So I did my best job to stay out of the way, which is often my job, right? The thing that I have learned in 28 years in higher ed is that you hire amazing people like Devin and like his entire team, and you get out of their way and just watch them go. There when they need you, providing the support. and trying not to be nervous. So my biggest problem, and probably Devin's biggest problem, was that I was nervous. I did go to Durham. I went on, I think, Wednesday, and ended up coming back either the next morning. I think I spent the night. I managed to spend the night, and we had a long conversation on a virtual meeting that night. And then I got up early the next morning, went to one meeting, and thought, I've got to be back in Winston-Salem where all the action is. So I drove back, and I tried not to bother them too much because they were working on all the details, and I wanted to know the details, but I just needed to step back and get out of the way for a while.
So Devin, then from a kind of a boots on the ground perspective, if you could, walk us through the amount of teams and departments that had to come together to make this happen, and were there any notable challenges that you all had to overcome?
Absolutely. Well, first off, I don't know who said this quote, so we can. I'll figure it out, maybe tweet it out later. But I've always heard this: trust is the lubricant of any great organization, and just what Dr. Spriggs said. I feel very, very lucky to be here at Forsyth Tech. I know that not every other marketing team or college structure or culture is like this, but really we have such great trust from not just Dr. Spriggs trusting us, but us trusting Dr. Spriggs and the leadership that we have here at Forsyth Tech. So it's created. I feel like we have this unique, amazing symbiotic relationship between the president's office and marketing. It does make it easy. Other organizations, there probably are a lot of silos between the presidents and some marketing initiatives or marketing leadership. And we just have such a great relationship between marketing and the president's office. But as far as, whenever it comes to everyone that was involved, I mean, very, very heavy involvement from our campus police department. That was major with Secret Service, with NC Highway Patrol. It ended up becoming even, I mean, it felt like it was one of those things that every couple of hours, new curveball, new change, new shift. Oh, wait, the governor's coming. Oh, wait, the mayor is coming now. Oh, wait, this person is not going to make it. We have to pull them out. Who are we going to put in? Are we going to? So we went from staging everything and having these ideas of, okay, we're going to go into this laboratory and we're going to show experiments and move from table to table to no, now we're just going to be in a line and everybody's going to speak. And I even think that, for Dr. Spriggs, I don't think that I let her know that she was speaking until the morning of. It was because it was just such a fluid landscape with the planning. And this really is it, what this I think this helped us do. So, I have an amazing events director, and she is fantastic with logistics and getting things together. We had to work very, very closely with our graphic design department because they needed signage. And in our laboratory classrooms, we don't have Forsyth Tech plastered everywhere. And I'm not sitting there thinking about, like, okay, cameras are going to be here, and we want to make sure no matter what shot they get, there's something that shows that Forsyth Tech, they're at Forsyth Tech. So we have to think about, okay, I need to get signage made, and I'm going to put a sign here on this cart, and I'm going to put a sign here on this like window that's just really a small Forsyth Tech, a place of promise. So we had to rush print some designs. Funny enough, we have a really good relationship with one of our printers here locally, and the White House called them and said, hey, we need some designs. When can you get them to us? And they said Monday, and the event was Friday. And so I called and said, hey, Mindy, we really love you and we really love our relationship with you. Is there any way that we can get this, printed within the next 24 hours? And they made it happen. So, even external partnerships we had to leverage and work with. So it was just a lot of different areas, a lot of different people. Facilities were amazing. We have the best facilities team helping us make sure everything was clean. I was going around, ripping things off of bulletin boards, like, okay, let's get some branding up here. Everyone did such a good job of coming together and realizing that this has such further implications than just a random event. This is something that is going to really benefit us and our college and our community, and Winston-Salem, our area, our service area, Forsyth and Stokes County. And so, I saw a lot of people become very, very selfless, and it was just an amazing thing to watch and to be a part of.
That's great.
Yeah.
If I could follow up, what was the actual timeline from learning the news to the actual event? How many days did you have?
So it was Tuesday night at 8 o'clock when I found out on the plane, and Friday morning at 10 o'clock was the event.
So about 2 working days.
Yeah, yeah. And this just goes to show the pre-planning teams that the White House sends out. I mean, they worked non-stop while they were here. I mean, it was constant. And there's a lot of things. And Shane, you had mentioned, like, what were some of the challenges? Well, a lot of the challenges were really kind of cool. So Dr. Biden loves community colleges. She's a community college advocate, community college professor. She teaches twice a week right now. She's the first lady of the United States to have a full-time job, as well as being the first lady of the United States. So she loves community colleges. So one thing that was very, very, very clear was you cannot cancel classes. Like, are there going to be students here in this building? Are there classes happening? Absolutely. You cannot cancel classes. She wants as little interruption to the college and to the day as possible. But you have to balance that with all of these security protocols and metrics. And so, like,
Sure.
having to run around and, like, get super sensitive information from everyone that was going to be in the building so they could do background tests, and we need it now. Those were some of the, I would say, challenges that I never even fathomed before this event happened. It was just a lot of working with them, and the White House was wonderful to work with, but it was just different, and it really opened my eyes to a lot of those things. So I thought it was really, one of the challenges was, we have to have this event and it has to have all of these, protocols. But it was so cool that she was very much like, nope, we're not interrupting the day. I mean, her staff they were like, absolutely not. You cannot, don't move anything, don't shift anything. We want this to be like normal for them, which I think shows her heart, and just amazingness from that.
I mean, it speaks to, I think, the culture of your institution, being able to come together in 2 days to get something like this to happen. So kudos to you all. And Devin, you mentioned impact, and I want to touch back on the actual grant itself with you, Dr. Spriggs. Can you just speak a little bit more to what impact you foresee having this grant having on not only the institution but the surrounding community?
Yeah. So I think it's going to have a tremendous impact on the region's ability to advance more biotechnology research, which will in turn create more biotechnology jobs and careers. For us at Forsyth Tech, we're going to get money that's going to allow us to buy equipment that we will need, it's very expensive equipment when you start talking about bionic parts, right? And all of these things that you need to teach for biotechnology careers. So that's going to be a big help for us, the actual funding that we're getting as the college is part of this funding. For us at Forsyth Tech, the biggest impact that I see, our vision, Shane, is to be a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives and transforming communities. And as you know, community colleges are all about that middle name, community. It's about what can we do to make an impact in the lives of the people in the communities that we serve. And so at Forsyth Tech, we want to love and serve each and every student to success. That's my theme. I say it at every opportunity I get. So thanks for allowing me to plug that one more time. So I think the impact is going to be in our ability to reach people who need an opportunity, who need a bridge out of poverty, who need education and higher education and education beyond high school to prepare them with the skills they need for a family-sustaining wage career. That's what we're all about, is getting people out of poverty, reaching populations. Equity is a huge focus for us, so we want to make sure that our students from underserved populations are being served by this particular opportunity as well, and that's going to be a big focus. It's all about economic mobility, and so we're going to recruit students into biotechnology who are perhaps first generation, first time in their family for anyone to go to college. And we're going to get them into a pathway that is not only going to lead them to better wages, but it's also going to lead them to a career that is going to change their lives in monumental ways. And that's what we're about at Forsyth Tech. That's what every community college is about, in my opinion. If you're not about that, you're not in the right business, right? Because it's about coming to a community college because we are the best pathway forward for you into that family sustaining wage career. No matter where you're at, we're going to meet you there, and we're going to take you as far as you can go. And so for me, this $30 million investment, $15 million over 2 years, with hopes of going even higher than that over the next decade, is all about how we are going to help more people in our community get out of poverty, get to a place that they're going to be able to enter a career that's going to keep them at home in this region and help them create a brighter future for themselves, but also for generations of their family to come. So for me, that's the most monumental part of this work and all the work that we do. But this particularly has the opportunity to create a pathway to a career that's going to be phenomenal for many of our students.
Thinking about the economic impact of something like that, the $30 million, it sounds like a huge sum of money, but the impact that's going to be generated by that economically in the community is way, way beyond that. So Devin, from an enrollment standpoint, obviously there's goals, I'm assuming, related to this grant. Can you just touch on some of the strategies that you all are employing to attract students to these specific programs and career paths?
One thing that is huge that I think is unique to Forsyth Tech. So we actually house at Forsyth Tech the National Center for Biotechnology Workforce. So that is within our community college, and so that's a huge selling point. I think
Yeah.
that's something that whenever we're able to talk about that like that, it lives here in Winston-Salem, in the innovation quarter, within all of this amazing biotech. That's a huge draw. But one thing that we have recently been doing, and I feel like we've been doing pretty well, are digital marketing campaigns. Trying to reach people that are special populations. So, for instance, we've put a huge emphasis on our adult learners, like looking at people that are non-traditional age, 25 plus, that maybe have families, that maybe have other circumstances. Maybe they are in a profession right now that isn't family sustaining, and they're looking for ways to elevate that. So targeting those adult learners. But also, I think one big thing is, beyond the marketing, one thing that we do really well at Forsyth Tech, or that we're at least trying to do very well, is not just attract people into a funnel and then say good luck, but to actually shepherd them through the process and help them know that we have supports for you, no matter where you are in life. So that has been also a huge part of our marketing strategy, is to highlight all of the support that we have for people. So, whenever it comes to adult learners, we have an adult learner open house where we bring the adults in. We say, bring your families. We have free childcare for them. Like, please come on. We're going to have a meal. We're going to introduce you to some of your faculties. We have success coaches for our adult learners. So, you can meet them. And if you need anything from IT to how to get into your Blackboard to counseling services, or we have a holistic wraparound support network called Forsyth Tech Cares. So like if you need baby formula or toilet paper or food or frozen items, whatever it may be, school supplies, we're able to sort of bridge that gap for our students. So we want people to know, whenever they come to Forsyth Tech, that they're not just a butt in a seat. You know what I mean? They really are a part of our trailblazing family, and we're here to help them, as Dr. Spriggs says, love and serve our students to success. And so we know that isn't just academically, that people bring their whole selves to their academics and to their lives. Community college students, I know that this is a little bit of a cliche or whatnot, but a lot of our students are one flat tire away from not finishing the semester or finishing their degree. And so this is something that I think we have integrated within our marketing to let people know that we have these supports available. So that's a strategy that we use. And then, we have this great student care team that is working all of these leads that we're generating. So not so through our CRM Element 451, not only whenever a person fills out a request for information form are they getting like an automated workflow, but they're also getting a phone call or a text message from a real person that's reaching out and saying, hey, I see where you put in a request for information form on this biotechnology page. How can I help you? How can I answer questions? And so we're layering the automation with the human component, which I think is pretty special and
I'm
unique.
glad that both of you brought up sort of the mission of community college. You saying baby formula, it's like it got me, warm and fuzzy, because
Yeah.
I think if you're not involved on a day-to-day basis in a community college space, you may not think of things like that. You may not think of, something like an application fee being the difference between somebody deciding between dinner and an application fee.
Yeah.
Those are real challenges. And so, the
Sure.
fact that you have student care in your title, and you clearly the institution is clearly dedicated to that, is great. And so I'm glad you gave, some insight to the listeners. So you've had some time, both of you, to reflect on this event. Hopefully, I mean, I know life is busy.
Yes.
So when you look back, what are some of the key takeaways that you've thought about since this event, and can apply to other major events or other exciting things happening on campus? And Dr. Spriggs, I'll go to you first.
So I think that's a really good question. I reflected a lot. All right. I feel like I'm still basking in the glow of that visit, because it was so much fun in the end. Now, I know we went out to lunch to celebrate after the visit with the team that had done all the work to put it together. And at that moment, fun was probably not what we were thinking. It was exhaustion at that time, because it is a lot, and it is, it should be a lot. It's the first lady of the United States. But I think that it was a lot of fun. It gave us a lot of opportunity to showcase Forsyth Tech. We were all over the news, every news outlet. I think we showed up in places that we've never shown up before in a very positive way. And I think that was fantastic, because it gave, they don't just search and look at that one story, they search more. And I think a lot of people learned a lot more about Forsyth Tech and what we do. I have started a new blog, a personal blog recently, and I got the opportunity to write a blog post about the First Lady's visit and reflections from the visit itself. So I think a key takeaway for me is that you always want to ride the momentum for things like this that kind of just fall in your lap. We weren't expecting on a Tuesday to have a call from the White House saying, hey, Dr. Jill Biden's coming to your campus. We were not expecting that, but it happened. We were ecstatic. We did a great job, thanks to an amazing team, of pulling together. I would, in my unbiased opinion, suggest is probably the best visit the White House has ever done.
Yeah.
And we were able to utilize that not only to call attention to the First Lady and the great work that she does and the support she has for community colleges, but to call attention to the great work that's happening at Forsyth Tech, and by extension at the other 1,299 or so community colleges across the country, and the other 57 of the great 58 in North Carolina. So I think learning that, or knowing up front when you have an opportunity like this, that it is going to provide you with so much momentum and so much capacity to tell your story and to utilize it as a lead in to bigger stories and better stories and ongoing stories. It was really something that I wasn't initially expecting on that Tuesday. And then I'll go back to something I said earlier. I heard Devin say that not every community college has their marketing team closely connected to the president's office. That's a problem, in my opinion, if that's not true. So I think a reflection I have is that when I look back, I can see so much growth since I've been here as the president for I'm starting my 6th year in January. I started my 6th year. And the way we have grown our marketing efforts, we used to outsource it. Um, I'm so glad we don't do that, because the team that we've built, from the events director to Devin as the executive director, and our PIO, all the people, the campus police, just the team that we've put together, and being closely connected to the president was important here, right? And so I think in my reflections, I'm really glad that we've spent the time that we had spent over those previous 5 years building the team that we have, striving for excellence in everything we do, recognizing that your public image is so vitally important. And the president is the person that, is responsible for guarding that and protecting that and developing that. So I think that if you're out there listening and you don't have your marketing team tightly connected to the president's office and working so closely and seamlessly together, that's something to consider. I think you'll see great benefit from that. And then the other thing I learned is just real quickly, I think it's just really special to be able to expose your students to the way our country works, right? Dr. Biden was adamant, and her team was adamant, that we couldn't cancel classes, but the Secret Service has a job to do to protect our leaders. And so they were very adamant themselves about protecting Dr. Biden and making sure that they had the proper spaces secure and all of that. When she was leaving, she saw a group of our early college students who were standing at the barrier that the Secret Service had put up. And she was not going to be deterred. She ran right over to them. And we have video of her shaking their hands and talking to them. Those students were still there much later, 30 minutes or later, after when I came out with my team going back to our office after the First Lady had left. And they were still so excited that they got to talk to and see the First Lady of the United States. So I think that speaks volumes to who she is as a person, but also who she is as a community college person and her love of students. Because again, we do this work not because of the great, huge salaries, but because of the purpose and importance and value and impact on real people's lives. And it was beautiful to watch her talking to those students and to watch those students so excited about being able to see the First Lady of the United States.
It's a once in a lifetime experience that,
For sure.
Not all of us, and probably not a small percentage of us in the higher ed space, are going to get. So, I mean, I appreciate your reflections. It sounds like a really wonderful event. And you mentioned some of it, Dr. Spriggs, but the visibility piece of this, Devin, I want to talk to you about. First of all, have you seen impact so far in terms of metrics and visibility? And then, do you have any plans going forward to kind of keep this momentum going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so from a visibility standpoint, this was huge. I don't even know how to calculate the media that we garnered from this. We had several cameras on campus that day. Shane, I am still. This is like a month and a half later. I'm still getting Google alerts that say FLOTUS at Forsyth Tech. I'm still getting them. They're still living. So tons and tons and tons of media coverage from Forbes magazine to our local news stations, the National Science Foundation, the White House sent out a lot of things. One other thing that I thought was really cool. I have it's brand new, but I just started this semester a student social media ambassador program to help create some user generated content. And the first video that they're creating is basically, it's a TikTok that's like, when you go to a community college that the first lady visits. I mean, like, so the students are were also thrilled and have helped perpetuate that. I think a couple of other things that were really neat. Dr. Spriggs was able to take some of our board and trustee members, some of our members of cabinet, our student government association president. The very next week, she was invited to a listening tour at the White House to talk about community colleges, and they were able to go and take like this amazing tour of the White House, and then that got picked up. That we were at the White House being so that got picked up by media. So it created this snowball of visibility for our college, and it was just really, really cool. I'm excited to see what other things come out, because it really hasn't stopped.
Yeah, hopefully this podcast episode.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see. Yeah.
Going forward for Forsyth Tech, we've talked about this project, but talk about other initiatives maybe tied to this, and advice for people listening to this that might find themselves in the situation you were in. Some key sort of pieces of advice from an institutional culture standpoint. Devin, I'll start with you for the marketers out there.
So my big piece of advice for our marketers is, it is hard work, but it is so worth it. So, I feel like there's a lot of times that people may feel jaded, or like, oh my goodness, I worked my 40 hours, clock out, or whatnot. This is not a moment for that. Like, if you can just for a day or two, say, you know what, I might have to be there till 10 o'clock tonight, and then be there the next morning at 7 o'clock, to make sure that things are happening. And I'm getting emails from the White House at 1 a.m. and they're expecting responses. It is definitely something where you have to have some grit, and you have to have the willingness to work hard. And I promise that it will pay off. I don't know how we would have done it without the team that we had. We have such great people that see the vision and understand that, and so they were very selfless with their time, and just infinitely thankful for that. So my advice to our marketers is, get to work. It's hard, but I promise you it will be totally worth it.
Yeah, and working actively on breaking those silos across campus often and regularly clearly enhance your ability to do something like this. And so, Dr. Spriggs, from your standpoint, as we close out, for other administrators and leaders out there, any advice for them? You mentioned marketing being connected to the president, which here that's say that louder for people in the back. But for leaders out there, looking around their institution, any advice for them on fostering that collaboration on a daily basis?
Yeah, I will say, for all the administrators and for presidents particularly, it's about coalescing your team, really bringing your team together around a collective shared vision. In my opinion, one of the things that makes Forsyth Tech so special is that we are all headed towards the same destination. I call our vision statement our ultimate destination, and we can use any analogy you'd like: train, bus, airplane, cruise ship, right? Everyone on this vehicle that's taking us to that destination is focused on that strategic destination, and on the strategic vision 2025 that we've built, that basically lays out the way we're going to achieve the destination, the way we're going to get to the destination. So it's really important, in my opinion, to as an administrator, as a president, to inspire the vision or the momentum around the vision, to make sure that you are doing everything you possibly can to ensure that everybody understands where you're trying to go, understands what it's going to look like when you get there, and that becomes the focal point that everything else you do is tied to. That's our why. It's our purpose. It's our reason for being. One of the reasons that Devin and the team were so successful in this effort and in everything that they do is because they're focused on the purpose and the why. What Devin described was it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it because we all know when we reach that destination and the work that we're doing to get there is having a huge amount of positive impact on people, on our students, on our communities, on the businesses and industries that we are serving. And so the biggest thing you can do as a leader is just make sure that you have worked to craft that shared vision well and that everybody on the team is all in, right? It's about, we're not here to do a job, because you come to Forsyth Tech, and I don't believe that the majority of our staff and faculty are coming here to do a job. I think they're coming here because they understand that what they're doing is going to create communities in our region of people that are better off than they ever have been before. It's about hope and opportunity and being that bridge out of poverty. It's not okay to us that in the latest data that I have, 25% of children 5 and younger are living in poverty. No one 5 or younger or older, for that matter, should have to go to bed hungry at night. And we're making a difference there. We are taking a bite out of poverty with every single thing we do, whether it's the NSF Engines grant and building a biotech workforce, or whether it's health sciences programs or automotive. All the stuff that we are doing is really focused collectively on how we're having impact and taking a bite out of poverty. So that's the most important thing you can do. Create a really compelling vision, work with your team to create the vision. It's not just yours, it's everybody's. And then make sure everything you do is tied back to that destination.
Yeah, that's so well said. And community colleges truly have the biggest impact on people's lives that any education can have. And so I'm so happy for your institution that this wonderful event happened. Go to forsythtech.edu to look at the pictures and videos, and it was just a fabulous event. If you're listening, Dr. Spriggs and Devin's LinkedIn profiles will both be in the show notes. Connect with them. They're very active. They're very insightful. So thank you both for being on with me. Breaking Silos is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry best as your hosts. Learn from Dave Builds, Jenny Lee Fowler, Eddie Francis, and many more of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.